Okay, good morning and welcome to Mo Knows featuring me, Monica Mo Justice. Where do we begin? We begin where we left off at yesterday. Um, so we're in what do we call it? We're in a session where we're at what's on Mo's docket, and today we are still following the case of, or we begin to follow the case of Kim Porter. You may recall she is the officer. It's an officer involved shooting wherein she was a training officer who was on site the day when the police officers pulled over a vehicle for expired tags. I wonder if that's a good question, though. Why did they pull the vehicle over? So I believe they pulled the vehicle over for expired tags. And in questioning the young man who was driving the vehicle, they took his ID, ran his ID, and discovered that he had a warrant. Yesterday, we discussed, or it came to fruition, that the warrant was a gun possession for something that was related to a gun charge. Anyhow, during the traffic stop, he was asked to get out of the vehicle, the young man. His name is Mr. Wright. He was asked to get out of the vehicle. He complied. When out of the vehicle, he was told that he was being put under arrest because of this warrant. Mr. Wright re-entered the vehicle. So, pause. Question comes to mind. When he got out of the vehicle, were they supposed to close the door and move him further down before they tell him they're going to arrest him? I don't know. But in any event, we'll see if they follow protocol, if that's what we'll hear in this case. Sometimes, and this is just my opinion, sometimes when you have a situation of this nature and you're an officer in training, a lot of mistakes happen at the site. And these are learning moments that you try to teach, that they might be teachable moments. So maybe that was one of the issues and it caused more of the problem. So anyway, the young man, when he got back in the car, got behind the wheel, the officer, the training officer, so that's the most superior officer at the time, she's the one providing the training, shoots him one time as she's screaming, taser, taser, taser. Now, I don't know if part of their protocol is to yell taser, taser, taser as they're using the taser. So that would be something to listen to in this trial to see if that's part of the protocol, to be yelling taser, taser, taser. Or was she yelling taser, taser, taser because she knew she was shooting, shooting, shooting with the with her firearm. So this will be all. It appears to me to be a negligence case where the officer was negligent in her duty, because she had a duty to do whatever she did, but saying that you use the wrong weapon to me is negligence. And there is a charge for negligence. So yesterday we also discovered that there are two charges in this case. And now I've got the skimmy on them. So good morning, Karen. I got the skimmy. Count one, which was recently added as early as September. Hey, JW. Count one was first degree. Count one is, not was. Hold on, because I put this damn gel in my hand and it's just bothering the hell out of me. So let me find a scrunchie because that's gonna bother me the whole show. And of course, I probably don't have a darn scrunchie down here. So I got clarity around her charges because yesterday I was confused, and today I'm not so much. Hold on, let me go get it for you. Okay, here we go. All right. All right. Oh, so much better. Okay. So the first charge, the first count is first degree murder. I lied. It's first degree manslaughter. Okay. And it's predicated. So these first degree charges are always the ones, well, this one requires that the person is doing some kind of engaging in a felony. So it's predicated on something else. And in this case, I didn't understand yesterday what felony can an officer be engaging in during a traffic stop that would be considered a felony if the officer was doing one's job. So here's the charge: predicated on reckless use of a firearm while committing misdemeanor reckless handling or use of a firearm so as to endanger the safety of another with such force and violence. I gotta look up and see if that was and violence or violence because I was just listening. And I remember I made a personal note to see if it was force and violence or force or violence. But it's like force and violence that death or great bodily harm was foreseeable. I'd have to see more in the case because yesterday I thought it was a reach because I didn't know what the felony she was being charged with. So this felony is that she recklessly used a firearm. And I'm assuming that they're saying it was reckless in and of the fact that she says she mistaken her taser for a gun. Um, and in arguing with my daughter yesterday, uh, arguing meaning that my daughter has a strong position of her own, and I'm playing devil advocates with, as always, with her thought process. She's like, she's an officer for 40 plus years. I don't know who was 40 plus years, but she's an officer for, I believe it's 26 years, but she's an officer for 2 decades. And she should be able to identify the difference between her firearm and her taser. And the fact that, um, the color, according to my daughter, of the taser is significantly different from the gun. So the question becomes, what is the protocol for the Minnesota Police Department? And that's going to come into play because we learned in the trial of George Floyd that the Minnesota Police Department has a set of standards that they train their officers on. I think it was twice a year or at least annually, they go through retraining. So the question is, and she's the training officer in this case. The question is, was she following protocol at the time of this incident? All still leading to negligence for me. I think the principle behind the officer taking it to trial is saying that In any other case where this may have occurred, where an officer mistaken their taser for, mistaking their gun for a taser, if that even makes any kind of sense, that an officer wouldn't have been tried. And then looking through the history of how many officers, I believe that this has occurred 16 times in the United States, and of all 16 times, um, she and another case have been tried, and the other case was adjudicated with the judge throwing the case out. How does the judge get to the point of throwing the case out? After the prosecutors have presented their case and they've closed their case, there is a period where the defense could say on motion that they want the case to be dismissed because the prosecutor did not prove their case. And I think that's going to be the language associated with police involved shootings. I can't impress upon people more than the current laws that we have in place were written for criminals, for criminal activity. They weren't written with the thought process of this will be applicable to a police officer. We need to have, when they talk about reform the police, we need to have laws specific to police involved shootings. In a statute, you have to make a charge specific to them so that they understand the consequences going into the act. As we all are supposed to understand the consequences going into inappropriate behavior or unlawfulness in society, they need to have this as a tool to understand that there will be consequences, not cookie coding our current laws, which are predicated on or built upon criminal acts, opposed to being constructed for officers specifically. That is just my opinion, again, as Monica Moe Justice, looking for a better avenue than trying to make a law that's on the books conform to the activity of a police officer. Because if you're saying that during the activity of being a police officer, that a police officer's daily job could be a felony, the act that they engage in could be a felony, it just is a problem. I see it as being, it's a nuance that we will have to deal with if people ever truly want to try police officers, because people will look at this and say, no, this can't be possible. The person was acting in the line of duty. There's a consequence for things that happen in the line of duty. It is not intentional. You take away the intent component of what the officer may or may not be doing by applying our current laws. We need to, when we're saying reform the police, these are the policies that need to be reformed around the police. Many of these are covered in their discipline code, and that's what results in an officer being terminated or officer being removed, but they don't have any criminology behind it. They don't involve a sentencing where you lose your freedom. It may involve a sentencing where you lose your job, but it does not involve losing your freedom. Anyway, count number 2, good morning, Cooking with Steel, is second degree manslaughter. And we did discuss this yesterday, which is culpable negligence, whereby the defendant created an unreasonable risk. And here's the language that troubles me: consciously took a chance of causing death of great bodily harm while using or possessing a firearm. consciously took a chance of causing death. That consciously is going to be a sticking point in that language right there, as I see it. So those are the things that I will be looking for the prosecutor to prove in their case, that she consciously pulled the wrong gun. And I got a preview of it because during one of the questioning of one of the jurors, they said the prosecutor, same prosecutors, not all the same team, 2 prosecutors from the George Floyd team are there. And I think those are state employees, because we did later learn that some of the prosecutors on the George Floyd, well, it's Derek Chauvin, on a Derek Chauvin trial, because a trial is to the defendant, not to the victim. So the Derek Chauvin trial, we got 2 of the same prosecutors, and we learned in that trial that they hired private lawyers to prosecute. They deputized or whatever, prosecutized them to do the case for Derek Chauvin. Moving on, I will be listening to the prosecutor's case to see where they proved that she consciously did the act. And I'm expecting them to show where she should have knowingly understood that she was using the inappropriate, that she wasn't using a taser at the time. The thing that stands out the most to me, though, is that in all of these police involved shootings, right, you never just have a single shot fired. I'm going to say that again. In most of these police involved shootings, when they have a gun and they shoot a suspect, they shoot multiple times. In training and in the use of a taser, everyone knows, or at least I believe this to be the case, and I could be wrong as someone who's operated a taser, please correct me, that you shoot it one time, something flies out of it and sticks onto the person and makes this sound, right? And in that act, right, there's one shot. She fired only one shot. So in my head, I'm immediately saying, if she thought it was a gun, if she thought that it was anything other than a taser, would she have fired more than one time? This is painful to hear me say, because I am a F the police mentality, but when it comes down to justice, I look at justice and I look at the actions one takes. So that is in my forethought as I'm looking at her actions and seeing how they align. So just food for thought. I'm a big advocate of taking into consideration of what in a series of events that led to the incident. I will, whatever they put on in their case, the prosecutor said it's more than 12 seconds. He says the defense wants to lead you to believe that it's the 12 seconds, that this was a decision that this officer made in 12 seconds. But there's more to that, which is the context. And yes, if you are training, what was she seeing in their training? Like, I don't know. So there's more to it. So I'm sure there's going to be more body cam footage. There's going to be more things to see than what we saw. So the events leading up to the 12 seconds, because they said that this took place in 12 seconds, are going to be critical moments. So I agree with you still that we have to see the whole context of the story. People are quick to blame cops when in fact, if one doesn't comply, Well, shit happens. Um, I don't really, I don't subscribe to the whole comply. Um, I one understands the consequences of not complying. But in the state that we're in our current state of events, many Black people believe, people of color believe, compliance or non-compliance, you still gonna die once you get pulled over. They see it as a death sentence either way. So some people will choose to go out in a fire of bullets than to be brought down. There have been people who have complied and they have died. So it all depends, because folks are saying the color of your skin determines how you survive that engagement. Initially, the controversy on this case was that this was a traffic stop for an expired plate during a time when we were in COVID times and people could not register vehicles and stuff. I don't know if that plays if that has a significant role in this case, but it had a significant role in the conversations that initially started with why the young man was pulled over in the first place. Which brings me to a cautionary tale. Every time I get in my vehicle, I make a conscious decision to say to myself, damn, Monica, where's your paperwork? Where's your stuff? Especially like I had like insurance now. I got the same insurance company, but my one insurance expired and a new insurance came in. I had to remind myself to come inside the house and find the damn paperwork so I could put it inside the car, because now the old paperwork I have is, was old. So yesterday I had to come back and look for the new paperwork and put it in a vehicle. And the reason why I did that is because, yes, everything is on your phone, but there's nothing like having the printed documents available for you. I'm sorry. That's just the way I see it. And I'm very, very cautious of that. And even I feel like leaving it in a glove compartment is not the appropriate place for it. I really feel like my stuff should be up at the visor part, but the way these cars are designed today, you got the mirror sitting there for your vanity purposes, and you don't have. So I'm like, I wish car manufacturers will build something in on the top of the visor so that you can put those important documents up there, so that if you are stopped by law enforcement, your only activity is reaching up to get something instead of reaching over, because I don't want to be shot either. And they're not going to go in your glove compartment and get your stuff. I don't want to be shot either. Well, they will go in your glove compartment and get your stuff. You know when they will do that? Allegedly, when they handcuff you. Then they will do whatever, search for whatever. But at the end of the day, I have been stopped by law enforcement. But that's it. No, I need my visor to I need my visor for other things. Maybe they can make something to go. I use my mirror. Okay, that's why the mirror's there. I use my mirror religiously. So that's not a good place for me. It needs to be something more built in up there. I'm just saying, that's just my moment to go. All right. So where are we at? Jury selection is this will be day 2. Today will be day 2. Yesterday on day 1, they selected 4 jurors. And from my accounts of jury selection, they took jurors number 2, 6, 7, and 11. A white male medical professional who's against defunding the police. I gave a little summary of the people. I listened to their voir dire. And these are what my takeaways. If you got, if you don't have to go, these are, or everything here is most thoughts. You don't like what I'm saying? Go listen for yourself and find out more about the person. I helped you out by giving you the juror number so you could click through and listen. The other juror, white female, retired special education teacher who recently lost her daughter. I believe it was to breast cancer. So she's in the grieving process, but I believe she said she lost her daughter in January. So right now we're in February, we're in the holiday seasons. It's a little emotional for her, but she said she could keep it together. But gave us some insight if she seems to be sensitive, has to do with, mourning the loss of her daughter. And we find out later that she has 4 daughters actually, and they all seem to be grown-ups, very professional. She said they were all, although she didn't tell us what that daughter did, but the other daughters that are still here were all math related professionals. Anyway, but what would you expect from the school teacher, especially the special ed school teacher? And she's retired, so we know that she's over 50. Over 50, might even be over 60, but I didn't hear over 60 in her voice, but it's just me. We also have a white male. Now, I was thinking he was a little Hispanic to me, so he might be, but he's young and he talked very quickly. But it also could be that I had it on speed up because I couldn't find which one I was missing. So he could have been on speed, and so it sounded a little to me like he had some, and I'm saying Hispanic of opposed to saying Latino. Even though Latino, I would prefer to use Latino when I describe people of Spanish descent. But I'm gonna say right now I'm gonna use the Hispanic terminology because he sounded white also. But it's just me. Here's the thing. He works at Target, at the distribution center for Target. So he doesn't work in a Target store, but he works at the distribution site. And he also worked overnight. Oh, and that was another thing. He said he was a little jittery. So all of these people that were there yesterday, they all had all kinds of kind of like anxiety type stuff that they shared with the court. He said he was a little jittery because he worked the night shift. So he had taken a little bit of something. He was working on overdrive because it's almost been 24 hours since he got some sleep. And since he was the last juror out of the first batch that came up. So he'd probably been there since early in the morning. So he probably did his night shift and then went into court in the morning. And the last person is a female. There was no clues into her. They just dug right into her comments. We know that her brother is a military person who just retired, but it was very not so much information given on her. I think she mentioned something about that stood out to me. It had something to do with Japanese tradition or whatever. So maybe she's of Asian descent because it was a quote or something that she said. But don't get me wrong, that's just what I was listening to. At nighttime, active blinkers, lower all windows, activate blinkers. Oh, I'm not telling. I'm not. I'm not giving people advice how to deal with the police. Don't get pulled over in the first place. Here in New York, I don't know what to. I've been pulled over, and thank God. Only my encounter in New York was annoying to me. I've been pulled over several times in Jersey. I done probably did wrong shit out there, but all had to do with the tags on the car. And that's because my driver's license was New York and my tags were New Jersey. I didn't tell the dealership when they sold me the last car to tag me Jersey. They should have tagged me New York, because I ended up paying dearly when I was able to turn those tags into New York. I almost like paid like $2,000 in tag. I paid like $1,800 in the taxes on that car because it wasn't registered right in the first place. You know, I was pissed about that. But at the end of the day, because I never wanted to give up my New York driver's license for a New Jersey driver's license, because I always claimed New York as my primary home, even though I was dislocated in Jersey. Anyway, so I was pulled over several times. Neither time did I spend time trying to explain anything to the officer about anything with the plates. Whatever they said to me was good enough for me, because the objective for that moment was to leave. And since I was getting the opportunity to leave, I offered no information. I didn't say nobody stopped me before. I didn't say I was working on it. I was like, let me get you the paperwork. Whatever that officer came up with the solution, that was the solution I took. But these New York didn't even pull me over for nothing to do with that. Didn't ask me nothing. It's all about my tinted windows on my car that I bought with that tint. And I was like, and my car had the Jersey plates. And I was like, well, I bought the car like this. I didn't add no tint to it. This is how it came. Then I said to the officer, I was like, and not only did it come like this, but I had to have the car inspected after I got the car. And I went down to DMV in Jersey. And guess what? It passed their inspection. So why are you pulling me over again, officer? Yeah, I told y'all that story. And yes, after the encounter, I took my little self down to their precinct and I filed a complaint in their precinct. Yeah, bad ass Monica went right down there to their precinct. Honestly, it was the precinct right outside where they found Alpo's body. But I took myself right to the precinct and was like, why did your officers stop me? Blah, blah, blah. And I said to myself, I said, now, Monica, if you're not supposed to have the tint, you went right to the Lion's Den with your tinted window car. They did not give you, but I just felt it was harassment. And what I said to the sergeant on duty at the time was, if my vehicle, and not only did I stop, so I had crossed the light, pulled into it's not a parking spot because it was a fire hydrant, put on my hazard light. I saw the police. They were not behind me. They were going on Adam Clayton Powell. I was coming down one of the side streets or going up one of the side streets, however you do it. Do not ask me about north, south, east, west. We don't do that around here. But let's say I was going west because I was on the west side. And I went down there and they zooped around us, but I didn't know that. I was letting my daughter out. That's when I heard she can get back inside the vehicle. So when the officer approached the car, I definitely rolled down my window. Was like, why are you detaining her from leaving my car? Because everything we were doing was correct. I was in a spot. I was just letting out my passenger thing. I didn't run no light to get over there because I was at that light waiting for it to turn green. So I went when it turned green. So there was no parking violation that I could have been doing, no driving traffic violation. So I asked him, I was like, and why are you stopping me? So I was like, what is your reason for detaining her? Was my first question. And he was like, we don't got no reason. So they let her go. I was like, she got to go bathroom. We ain't got no time for y'all and y'all bullshit. Why are you detaining her? Because you told her she can't leave the car. So why can't she leave the car? Okay, now that we got that settled and she left the car, why are you even talking to me? Yeah, it was in that nature too. It was like, and why are you talking to me? And on top of it, y'all know my video from yesterday, at the corner, because that's where I was stopped. There was a whole bunch of people standing at that corner. And those guys was listening to how I was questioning the officers about their illegal detaining of me. And that's when this guy wants to pull out some little machinery diggity do and put it on the window and try to tell me about the tent. I'm looking at him like he got 10 damn heads. And I was like, okay, well, I bought the car like this. I registered the car like this. So no one made me aware of it. Thank you for making me aware of it. So now I just was basically telling the officer, okay, I got it like this. I found it like this. I bought it like this, but thank you for making me aware of it. I'll look into it because now you've put me on notice about it. No one said anything to me about it before, so I'll look into it. And I looked into it when I went around the corner to the precinct. I looked into why they were stopping me in the first place. But that all had to do with, they probably thought it was some Black young men inside the car. They saw me stop at the corner, about to let my passenger off. But it was just that whole Black, they thought it was probably a Black young man inside the car, and they was ready to harass a Black young man, and they got a feisty on their thing. They're lucky I didn't go live. Anyway, good morning, Beach. Said I was dramatic, y'all, but why did I say you was dramatic? But so today I will go back to listening to the court case and see how many more jurors get selected. They need to select 12 jurors and 2 alternates, so they need 14. So they got 4 down, 10 to go. And we know that they're anticipating starting the trial on December 6th. I mean, no, December 8th, which is what day of the week is December 8th? I didn't look it up and I don't have my calendar. So today is the 1st. So that means next Tuesday. They're hoping to, or they have slated that they would start the case on next Tuesday, because the 7th would be, well, no, next Wednesday, because the 7th would be next Tuesday. So they're hoping to start on December 8th. And they anticipate that the trial should be over by Christmas Eve. And if it's not over by Christmas Eve, listen to this BS. The judge is planning on going on vacation anyway, so they will return in January. And this was all that was said at the time. But just some advice here. My interaction with the police officers should not be a tutorial as to how you should engage with the police officers. You have to you have to handle the situation you have to handle your engagement with any police officer at any given time with the mental thought process that you will be going home, and not to your father's house where there are many rooms, but to your house in the living. But if you end up on the other side of it and you end up in your father's house with many rooms, know that there may have been a different approach to it, or you was living under the guise that we don't survive traffic stops right now, and maybe they shouldn't be doing traffic stops. I swear, maybe they shouldn't be doing traffic stops when there's no true violation, like there's no moving violation. And I'm not talking no recorded moving violation, because at this point in time, they got vehicles equipped with cameras and they got their body cameras. I want to see the person do the infraction. If you're telling me that a person failed to stop at a stop sign, come to a complete stop, I'm expecting to see that on a video. I'm expecting to see evidence of why you stopped people in the first place under any circumstances, especially after this year in Florida. They had the case of the state trooper. Remember him? White guy was pulling over all those meth heads and junkies and stuff. And he was pulling them over and searching their car and finding evidence of drugs and then arresting them, and only to find out that he was planting the drugs in their vehicles. So that's crazy. Mo, what do you think our rooms will look like? My daughter asked that last night. I'm hoping. Why you ask me it? First of all, my room better contain Chico in it. That's all I'm gonna say. I expect to see him when I get up there and be like, whoa, even though I am gonna be the older, because by the time I get up there, I've outlived him. I'm more concerned with what is the judgment gonna be about. But that's the only thing I ever like. You know, when I get up there, I just can't wait to see the people that that went before me. But I hope that I've done much greater in my things, so they just be cleared out, stacked in my room. That's all. I don't know. Never really thought about that. I always just thought about the people I want to meet when I get up there or reacquaint myself with. I never thought about what it's gonna look like. Shit, it's gonna be paradise. Everything up there is supposed to be better than anything up here. You know what? I like to run into Adam and Eve so I could smack the shit out of both of them, because I had to wait to get there to enjoy his promise, all because the two of them had to smack on a damn hard ass apple. I'm just saying. That's just my thoughts. y'all could dislike me. But y'all should like the video, because if you dislike me, ain't nobody gonna know about it, because YouTube took that away from y'all. The likes outweigh the dislikes. Yes, I've imagined all kinds of amazing things. I just know that there was a promise. And because people ran around here talking to serpents and shit. They ran around smacking up snakes and shit. You know, they cheated me out of that, because imagine what it would have been like being here under those circumstances, under the original conditions. That's it. I'm having it. I'm having a sit down. Oh, wow. Wait a second. Let me think about. I've heard you quote him too a lot. So, Beach. All right. Well, that ends this session of Mo Knows. Watch this, because I'm editing stuff these days. So I'll be watching the court case today to see how many more jurors we get and if the timeline changes. This is Mo, and I've got to go. Okay, Beach. I got on to the other part of the life here on Mo Knows. I'm confronting Adam for throwing Eve under the bus. He participated in those combos for weeks. Listen, I'm mad at Eve. I'm not mad at Adam, because he man thinks with his head, and it was the other head he was thinking with. He was just like, I'm just mad at Eve because she was just over there like, this serpent, said he don't want us. I could just see her holding that apple too. It reminds me like the Wicked Witch. But like just the Wicked Witch just holding the apple. Or was it Snow White? Whoever ate the apple then, yeah, that's how I just envisioned it all my life. But I had a visitor the other day in my comments, and I guess it's because you are having a disagreement with the person. And because I didn't see the blowout, right, between the singles. I don't want to go in my wallet and get out the singles again. I didn't see the disagreement between the singles. That's what I'm gonna call it. So I don't really know what happened there, but what I do know is that some people around here, and this is why I don't like to talk about religion on I'll speak about spiritual stuff, but I try to stay off the religious stuff because it's so it's a complicated conversation. And then when you couple it now with people talking about Masons, Eastern Stars, and all this other stuff, and I'm saying to myself, those were not people here on a YouTube will call them underground societies, right? I'm not going to call them underground societies because I know of many people who the elders, right? Maybe some of them now the ancestors, but the elders who participated and belonged to those organizations. And I don't know them to be bad people. I know them to be being good, abiding citizens. So I don't know upstanding citizens. So coming on this YouTube, I've learned a lot about, or I've heard a lot about the negative side of things. And sometimes I just be like, whoa, wait a second. Does anybody have a positive experience around here to talk about some of these organizations and stuff? Because they couldn't all be all this negative all the time, because I'm sure there's people that would not have been down with that stuff. So I don't know what happened around here. I don't know who was grooming for what, but I read the person's comment and I was like, so I'm saying this now publicly. When you have a disagreement with another YouTuber, right? Keep your disagreement with that YouTuber. Don't go looking for other people to either embrace and pull into the nonsense or pull into your beef. And if that's your goal, come straight out and say, listen, I need you to help me. Like, just say it straight out. Just be like, hey, yo, Mo, you know, Beach and me had a disagreement. Can we try to solve it there or whatever? So I could just respectfully say no or respectfully say yes, or what, tell you what my engagement would be at. But don't come, let me just put it like this. Why can't people on here just be straight shooters? Come straight. Stop trying to take these side roads and these back alleys and stuff like this to resolve something. Go straight for the gusto. I'm so annoyed with folks around here trying to put people in it, put people in stuff and shit. I don't want to be in nothing. So let's just be clear. I don't want to be in anything. But if you're trying to insert me in something, let your actions be known so I can decline or accept honestly, because I will do either of the both. Now, just because you see me go on Beach's platform when controversy is over there, right? I went on there. There are times when I go on there based on what I see the movement. And sometimes I go on there when I just want to hear better up close. I don't got time to be reading the chat and trying to figure that stuff out. I'm laying down and I just want to lay down and listen from my phone and hear it out. Um that's about it, but not particularly because I want to be involved in something or not. I'm a long outlive many of y'all anyway, because I don't know what the hell y'all be getting into. But my last appearance on her platform was Woman-Based. And I was just up there making sure that there was a balance of woman-based thinking, because the issue was woman driven. And I hate when the men butt into the women disputes on this internet, when as women we have been settling skirmishes um since the beginning of time. We are moms. So we've been deciding uh issues for a long time with fairness and with the level head. So nothing's going to change in that situation. We've been doing that forever. We've been listening with good hearts and good ears to things for a long time, so we can come to some good resolution. And that's the only reason why I was up there. I know none of those. I knew only Beach. I learned a lot of stuff when I came back home, and people informed me of different things that are developing around the community, and I didn't understand that. I did see Rain and Woman's. I didn't see the whole video, but I saw what I saw her title, and then somebody sent it to me. And they was like, I think she's gonna talk about you. Hey, Glib. So let me tell you what this is about. What sets you claim? Uh, so let me just say this. I was talking on a subject the other morning, and a new person came into the chat. And because the conversation was about somebody, and at the time that he wrote something, his greetings, salutations, or what have you, basically he came in peace. So he didn't leave in pieces, but he came in peace. But the moment he wrote, or the moment I saw what he wrote, I was talking on something specifically. So I thought maybe he was being, or she was being a certain kind of way based on what I was saying, which is usual here. So I asked him, hey, hi. No, I didn't even ask him. I asked the people in the chat, does anybody claim this person? Right? Because it's a new face to me. So if it's a new face to me, and I'm under the impression that YouTube's not sharing out our stuff, right? What am I to think? Like, well, who sent this? Who sent you over here? Right? So it is true that Reigning Woman shared out the video. And when she shared out the video, thankfully enough, newcomers came over here to see what it was. I probably scared off the person. And so Reigning Woman, after I mentioned the name, said, oh, he comes from over me. So now that's a good thing, right? And you shouldn't be afraid. If I go in somebody's room, if I go and I watch any of the people that are in the room, if Beach shared somebody's video and I watched the video, I probably would go into the room and say, greetings from Beach. Boo, 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 boo. I come from Beach. But you don't really have to say that. But I think you should, as some kind of fucking etiquette around here. Maybe sometimes you have to break rules around here, because I don't care what anybody says. This is somebody else's home. This is Momo's home, right? So you coming into Momo's house and it's live, right? So imagine this. Knock, knock. You think my front doors are just open for people to just pop up in there and be like, boom, boom, whatever, whatever? No, you would say, hey, so and so told me about your channel. Let me check this shit out. Let me see if it's for me, not for me. Blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't be writing necessarily in the middle of some shit that I don't know no shit about. I'd be like, oh, what the fuck is this? Let me just go hide over here. But so I appreciate that you sent me the link to Raining Woman's video. You do realize I moderate over there, or she's acknowledged me to be a moderator for her, right? So if you didn't know, now you know. I feel like I need to say this only because of the negative shit that I hear out here in the world. The person that sent me the video was not Karen. It was not KK. And I hate that I have to say that, but it's only because people start so much trouble around here. When you folks are the real troublemakers, you know who you is. I'm not saying that y'all making much to do about nothing. So I go and I'm like, I've already seen this. Right now, I didn't see her whole video, but I listened to her intro of it because of the title. And when she came on, she was explaining about talking about not knowing what community she should identify with, right? And you don't have to identify with none of these fucking communities in the Black community. And that's what I wanted to say today. Because your channel is your own channel with your own community guidelines and rules. You fall under the umbrella of YouTube, but then you make your own rules for your channel and for your community that you're building. So it's like, take a breath back, guys. Relax, relate, believe. Everything's not negative. I know that y'all come from some tumultuous relationships around here. I am a product of that too. I've been in some bad relationships throughout this. No, they're not relationships. You know what they are? They are YouTube ships. As much as people hate to acknowledge that I'm the librarian here, but they're YouTube ships. And we've been in some very toxic YouTube ships. And it's understandable. But some of this stuff is driven by y'all suspicion. Maybe rightfully so. Maybe somebody's trying to warn me of something. But you can't warn me about somebody that's been here longer than I have and that I've engaged with for a very long time in different seasons. Exactly. Everybody that has a channel should be setting their own community in place. You are you, and you own this shit the minute you open your live feed up, or the minute you put up your upload. If this is your community that you're building and the people want to know all about you, when it's your platform, that's what they want to know about. I follow people in the luxury community and say it ain't so, but it is so. They go shopping, they buy the expensive Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Chanel, Yves Saint Laurent, all of the stuff that they purchase, right? Nobody is in their live feeds talking mad shit about what they purchase. Nobody I've seen. I've seen these same channels that I subscribe to, right? Over in the luxury community, take you through cleaning their house, shopping for what they're shopping. Some of them budget in front of you how much money they have and don't have, how they save up for their. They go through a whole litany of stuff, and they don't have none of you people as their subscriber base complaining. You know what they have though? They have people trying to support them. Girlfriend, one of the channels I watch, she dropped her glasses, right, on the floor. So she got a baby, she's got a baby stroller, she's out and about walking with a child, you know, video in this shit, stopping at the coffee shop, whatever. She went into her little carriage thing and dropped a pair of sunglasses on the ground. So she goes, oh my God, I hope these didn't break, whatever. She picks them up or whatever. Do you know her following video? She's like, thank you for all the support. People located the glasses for her. This is some subscribers offered to purchase her a replacement pair of glasses. This is somebody that unboxed like maybe like $10,000, $20,000 worth of shit one day on her channel for her birthday as her birthday gifts to herself, blah, 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 blah. And people were still willing to buy her whatever expensive damn glasses that was so she could have those glasses. And I'm saying to myself, wow, it must be nice being around people that just support your pathway to success. Or maybe that's part of being part of the rich life. When you just understand that life is precious. I meant to bring down the quote. I left my thing upstairs. But the rapper who recently passed away, well, he didn't pass away. He was killed. He was murdered in front of a fucking cookie shop. He had a quote. Let me see if I find it online. I think they quoted him for the funeral. Because his funeral was yesterday. It was a private funeral. I should have just went and got my damn phone because it would have been easier to find it. Here it is. You only get one shot at life, one life to live. Make the most out of it. Put as many smiles as you can on people's faces. Help as many people as you can. And I thought about that and I was like, good statement. Good statement. Good, excellent quote. One life. One life. That's all you get. That's all you get out here. One life. One life. Live it doing good. Maybe that'll be a sentiment I can share with others to rethink your purpose right now. Not a bad time. We're entering the end of a year. We're entering the beginning of a new year. New year, new focus point. So begin to look at yourself and see what it is. What is your purpose? And how you want to expand on it. Listen, guys, everything is not that negative out here. It really isn't. It really is not. It really isn't. And everybody isn't your enemy. We're just trying to survive in an environment where good and evil clash every single day. Anyway, this is Mo. And on that note, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys when I see y'all. I'll probably be back tomorrow for Two Thoughts. Yeah, I'll be back because we're covering the case. So it's on my docket. So I'll see y'all in the next session of What's on Mo's docket. Laters.